Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners. Best Cord Cutting TV, Before It's Tax Preparation, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, Casa Antonieta in Yelapa, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, Monzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Owners Reps Puerto Vallarta, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. It is Wednesday, September 17, and today's broadcast is not for children. You heard me right. You'll understand why later on. Today, I'm happy to see you, as I'm happy to see you every single day. I've gathered some interesting headlines that I want to share with you, and I'm always intrigued about what you bring to the table with your questions, your comments, your ideas, your suggestions, your plans on returning to Puerto Vallarta, or if you are here, your enthusiasm for finding great ways to connect with one another and to connect with our destination as a community of English-speaking locals living here. We are going to focus on more numbers, more stats that have to do with Mexican independence celebrations. We have a couple of extra bits of news here and there. And we have a section that is not suitable for children. Why do you know? We never had that before. So, let's see. Let us get started before I start getting all invested in your comments. We'll get to those later on. The Mexico City Government Ministry, or the Ministry of Government, announced that the celebration of Mexican independence held this past September 15 in Mexico City, Zócalo, registered an attendance of approximately 280,000 people. In an informational bulletin, the agency stated that the event was peaceful and ended with no protests. This is interesting because, just as an aside, the opposition, Mexico has opposition too. President Sheinbaum has opposition. And in the weeks preceding the celebration, the opposition spent a lot of energy and time and possibly money trying to discourage people from attending the Mexican Independence Day celebration, President Sheinbaum's first. Well, it didn't work because there was no room for another soul in El Zócalo in Mexico City, and all went well without any protests, without anything. So this is good to know. In Guadalajara, there were also no incidents, and approximately 70,000 attendees were present when Governor Pablo Lemus Navarro led the Grito, Jalisco-style ceremony in the historic center of Guadalajara. I've walked down that promenade so many times, and to see it packed with 70,000 souls is rather overwhelming. If I ever attend one of these, I want it to be from my hotel balcony, and there are some great hotels. As you can see in this image, there are some people watching from the oh my God, I'm not even showing you the image. What a moron. There are some people watching over here in the hotel balcony, so that's the way I would want to do it. That's just me. Moving right along here in Puerto Vallarta, and despite the rain, over 10,000 people gathered at the Malecón, again without any negative incident. That said, not everything was peaceful in Puerto Vallarta. On Monday afternoon, a group of around 30 young people, mostly with their faces covered and protesting against gentrification, ended their demonstration by painting graffiti on the facade of City Hall hours before the night of the Grito Ceremony. Mayor Munguia announced that vandalism of municipal property is not justified by any social protest. It is an act that crosses the boundaries of the law and enters the realm of criminal law. He also emphasized that his government respects freedom of expression and demonstration, but will not tolerate actions that damage urban infrastructure or public property, as well as municipal property that belongs to all citizens. So there are going to be prosecutions made and arrests if the vandals are identified. And we're almost done with Mexican independence news. More than 316 members of the armed forces and 1,659 students participated in Puerto Vallarta's civic-military parade, which was enjoyed by thousands of people along its route. In other news, Puerto Vallarta reached 3,355 free neuterings of dogs and cats in the first week of September, a milestone achieved through the municipal government, by the municipal government through the Animal Welfare Department. This is a huge number, and this is not even counting the wonderful work that our other organizations do in our city. We have a number of dog and cat organizations that also have their own neutering plans and their own neutering programs. So this is excellent news. And the last bit of news that I have to share with you today before we switch over to the second half, this is also excellent news. The Canadian Embassy in Mexico confirmed that Prime Minister Mark Carney will be meeting with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. The embassy shared that the Prime Minister will travel to Mexico City starting tomorrow. He arrives tomorrow until the 19th to deepen relationships between Canada and Mexico and strengthen the prosperity of North America. They will meet to enhance and expand the bilateral relationship between two countries, focusing on security, infrastructure, investment, energy, and trade. And that, my friend, sounds so productive. It is nice to report. Now, let's see what our weather forecast has up its sleeve this morning. Snarky Weatherman says, school's out for summer unless you have summer classes, in which case, haha. Okay, whatever. 29 degrees right now. Humidity is at 74%. Our weather forecast indicates that today we can expect mostly cloudy skies in the morning. I don't see that. With thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 61%, a high of 32 and a low of 22. Then tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 76%, a high of 33 and a low of 22. And then Friday, rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 93%, a high of 32 and a low of 22. And the last thing that I have to report. Oh, wait, how many do I have? Oh, yes, I have one more thing to report. You know, I am so happy. There is life for me after coffee and headlines. I found my new job. But before I tell you about my new job, well, I'm going to do both things at the same time. There was outrage in a small town in the state of Chiapas because some people have different sense as to what patriotism is about as it relates to the type of entertainment that should be chosen for Independence Day celebrations. There was outrage in the town of Reforma, Chiapas, over scantily clad dancers carrying a Mexican flag during the Grito celebration. There was a video recorded that went viral after showing this lady dancer wearing a Mexican sombrero, carrying a flag, and shaking her shimmy in front of dozens of attendees, including minors. This wasn't very patriotic, but it gives me hope because I figured, you know, when your coffees stop coming, when you stop subscribing to Coffee and Headlines, when I need to find another job, maybe, just maybe, I can be an exotic patriotic dancer. And in case you're considering the same possibility, of course, I'm going to show you the video. Why could I not? We have to start learning some of these steps, you know? There you go. That's real Mexican patriotism. Go, go, go. And oh yes, I saved her in slow motion so that we can learn the steps and put them to good work. Again, if you stop contributing to Coffee and Headlines, I might as well start taking classes so that I have something to do with myself. Ah, the twirling. And that's, my friends, the broadcast for today. Let us switch over to our chit chat section just to see what you guys are thinking of. I want to start shaking right away. Let's see what we have. Pam 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 pam. Let's see what we have. Good mornings, many, many good mornings. Logan comments, hotel balconies are the way to go. Of course, our friend Julie Guerrero comes back from Mexico City. And this morning, I understand, and I want to hear everything about her experience with El Grito, with Claudia Sheinbaum, our Mexican president. I am so excited about that. We'll break the law, face the consequences. If that is related to the dancing, Laura, then we can start rehearsing together if you want. Haha. I would think it would be a good idea to have the masked perps be required to remove the graffiti. That would be the least of the things they should do, Barbara. I mean, I think I mentioned this one or two trips to Guadalajara ago. The Women's March in Guadalajara was a few months ago, and I was in Guadalajara shortly thereafter, and it was really mortifying to see how much graffiti they left behind on historic buildings. And you know, it's like, it's not the building's fault. But I don't want to get into this because, you know, I don't know much about that. All I know is there are productive ways to complain about something and there are destructive ways to do it, and that shouldn't be allowed. My 2 cents. There's a cue from Queen of Question. Would someone be reprimanded for the floozy behavior? Maybe it belongs in a club. I think that lands in a questionable. I mean, here's the thing, Laura, and we talked about this in my music appreciation presentation. For example, there's certain ways in which you can wear Mexico's patriotic symbols, and there's certain ways in which you cannot. Those thongs that you've seen at Walmart with the Mexican flag in them, they're not even legal. I don't even know how they got into the counters or the shelves. So Mexico doesn't allow you wearing anything patriotic to begin with. Now, when it comes to things that cross the very fine line between what's decent and indecent, you know, all we know is this lady will probably consider doing the same shimmy shaking next year. But we'll see what happens. Now, Mark is onto something here. You could do dancing tours instead of walking tours. I would love to do that. Dancing tours. Mark, maybe you can join me. We can shake our shimmy together. No big deal. I saw plenty of videos from Go-Go Boys dancing just like that at Industry and Paco's on Monday night. Well, it's a big difference, Logan, because, you know, when it happens inside of clubs and cabarets and bars where there are no minors, it is not a big deal. When it happens outside in front of families and children, it is definitely a bigger deal. So that's just my 2 cents. Let's see. Robert, I hope you got the information about where to fix your car or get your plates or whatever. It was mentioned yesterday, and if you didn't, just holler, um, and we'll repeat the information. Anyhow, Robert comments Claudia is establishing such a strong patriotic and professional approach to all of her work. Absolutely. I totally agree. And Robert says, morning, like the dancer. I'm sure you could do that. Uh, and then Robert says, no, not yet, hollering. Okay, well, the place is located where the old Vallarta Yacht Club used to be located in Nuevo Nayarit. That's where the registry of motor vehicles or whatever it's called is located. So that is located. Well, if you Google the old Vallarta Yacht Club, you should be able to find the location. And I wish you lots of luck with that. And this brings me to my end of today, but not without mentioning the fact that we are getting close to Feel Good Vallarta. It's just in over 3 weeks, and I am excited. We have already received some registrations, 7 registrations actually, of very interesting physicians and health providers. We still have space for 5 more. So if you know of someone that would benefit from sharing their knowledge and expertise as it relates to wellness and health, we have room in this event. And for those of us that want to attend, this will be a great place to make connections with physicians, with caregivers. There's going to be someone talking about health insurance in Mexico. So it is going to be very interesting. Again, this is on October 11th from 12 to 3. Put it in your calendars, and I'm looking forward for the event, and I hope you are too. This is going to be at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. So that's exciting. And this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I'm happy to have spent some time with you. I'm going to start practicing my shimmy. And I will see you again tomorrow morning. Or maybe if you are in the vicinity of the Joint Boutique Hotel this afternoon and you want to stop by, I'll be there as well. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.